Now at 5, we'll have a look at road conditions throughout the area and how crews are treating them. Plus, a look at how this winter storm is impacting other parts of the country, and federal lawmakers work to address a mental health crisis.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
It's been as icy as advertised across the 4 states today. This is KOAM News at 5. Let's turn first to Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy.
Yeah, another wintry weather day across the region, especially areas along north of Interstate 44. Most of the metro dusting upwards to about an inch of sleet and snow, but the heavier amounts the farther north you go. Most of us actually picked up quite a bit of freezing rain, and then we got a little bout of sleet and then mainly snow in our northern counties. A lot of areas 4, 5, 6, 7 inches as you work up towards Chanute, Yates Center, Humboldt, Iola, all picking up fairly heavy amounts of snow. Most of the snow is out of here now, which is good. After we got heavy amounts of rain last night, most areas ended up with 1 to 2 inches of rain. You can see the showers, the thunderstorms working through, then the sleet, freezing rain pushing in, snow working in behind it as we work through the daytime hours today. We are going to still have the clouds sticking around at least for the next couple hours, but as this system exits the region, we're going to cool down for us tonight as we drop back all the way down into the single digits. We'll talk about that here in just a bit.
See you then. In our viewing area, the road conditions generally get worse the farther north and west you travel. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky spoke with the emergency manager in Labette County, Kansas, and has more on road conditions and efforts to keep drivers safe.
Dow, here in Labette County, the snow started early this morning and it's clearly impacted the roads. And while we didn't see too many people on the roads while we were driving, their emergency manager says it's clearly for the best. He tells us the whole county has seen about the same amount of snow. He also says they've responded to a few slide-offs but haven't reported any injuries.
Yeah, we've had a few slide-offs. We had early this morning about 6:30, we had a 2-car non-injury accident south of town here. At the current time, we have a semi-jackknife somewhere out around the Neosho River Bridge on 400 Highway. And then we had a limb come down, we assumed due to ice. Took the power service out to a house.
The biggest thing he stresses is to stay home if possible, and if not, to give emergency crews enough time to clear the roads. Reporting in Parsons, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
While the snow has hit parts of southeast Kansas hard, the variety of precipitation has made clearing the roads a particular challenge. Priscilla Peterson with KDOT says the heavy rain ahead of the wintry weather made it impossible to pre-treat the roadways. Although crews are working to clear the roads, Peterson says with the rapid temperature drops, drivers have to be very attentive, especially in areas that didn't get any snow.
That layer of ice underneath complicates everything. And I think it is deceptive to people when they're in an area that didn't get much snow, or maybe they think this road or bridge is fairly clear and really it's icy.
Peterson says it's more difficult for the road crews to get the ice off the road than it is to plow snow. KOAM Shannon Becker has been checking out road conditions in southwest Missouri.
Thanks, Dow. We're here at the Joplin Bureau at 7th and Range Line. And this afternoon, the precipitation has seemed to slow down, like Doug said. System's almost over it. The biggest incident we had was today around noon. A cleanup of 2 tractor trailers had crashed at I-49 and Civil War Road north of Carthage. No one was injured. However, it took till about 3 o'clock to get that cleaned up this afternoon. And even though it's 25 degrees right now, roads are generally clear in and around Joplin. East 7th Street is looking good. People are driving like it's a normal day. However, a different story in the northern counties. There'll be some slick spots in this evening and overnight. We'll keep our eye on the roads for you in Missouri. I'm Shannon Becker at 7th and Range Line. KOAM News now.
It has been mostly sleet and freezing rain with snow in the northern counties of Missouri. In the southern counties, it's been a mix of freezing rain, sleet, and flooded roadways. Despite the wide range of weather conditions, officials with MoDOT say the system has been a little easier to handle than some others.
I don't think we were looking at accumulations with this event that were forecasted where that we really needed to do a lot of shifting of resources because there wasn't a lot we could do in advance of the storm. And it wasn't that significant of an amount of precip either.
Campbell says they have had to close some roads in the southern portion of the district due to flooding concerns, but they have not closed any roads due to snow or ice. This winter storm is impacting more than just the 4 states. People from Texas to Maine are dealing with snow and sleet. Marissa Perlman reports from Crown Point, Indiana.
A lot of plows out there working the roads right now.
The snow started falling early Thursday in Kansas City, part of a system first blanketing the Midwest. This is what it looked like in central Oklahoma, where a winter storm warning was posted. Tens of millions of Americans are in its path. Some areas could get a foot of snow. The system rolled over Colorado Wednesday, leading to slippery roads in the suburbs of Denver. This car slid off of a highway. It started snowing here in Crown Point, Indiana, near Illinois, Thursday afternoon. Blizzard-like conditions are expected throughout the day. The storm brought sleet and flooding to the St. Louis area. One car got stuck on this flooded road in Oakville, Missouri.
Do not try to drive through standing water. Some people were yelling at that car to stop, and she, it wasn't a truck, and she got halfway through and just stuck, and it flooded her car.
Another car flooded in East St. Louis.
I had to sit on the middle console and put my feet on the seat because my car is totally flooded.
This system could also bring severe storms to parts of the South.
This is a potent storm. It's going to bring everything for us, from tornadoes to extreme winds to heavy snow.
The storm is expected to move off the East Coast Friday. Marissa Perlman, CBS News, Crown Point, Indiana.
Severe storms, including tornadoes, could hit today from parts of Arkansas to Mississippi. Still ahead, a push by airlines to create a federal no-fly list for unruly passengers. And next in Health Watch, how lawmakers are working to tackle a mental health crisis in the U.S. Topping today's Health Watch, a new study in the New England Journal of Medicine suggests gene therapy could provide a possible cure for sickle cell anemia. Researchers found patients who underwent the expensive treatment no longer had symptoms of the disease, but they point out that most patients with the condition live in Africa and India, where access to that health care is limited. The pandemic has led to an even greater rise in anxiety and mental health issues across America. The CDC now says more than 50% of Americans will be diagnosed with a mental illness or disorder at some point in their lifetime. House lawmakers confronted the crisis during a special hearing today on Capitol Hill. Reporter Natalie Brand has more.
And I wish almost every day I could wake up and have her with me.
Martha Thomas lost her daughter Ella to suicide in 2018. She was just 24 years old, the older sister of NFL player Solomon Thomas.
There is still so much stigma surrounding suicide and suicide prevention and mental health. And if we don't talk about it, it's not going to get better.
The family says it turned pain into purpose, founding the nonprofit The Defensive Line, aimed at ending youth suicide. Ella's father, Chris Thomas, appeared by video at a House subcommittee hearing on the national mental health crisis.
We will work to ensure what happened to Ella doesn't happen to others.
Psychiatrists testifying before the House committee say the pandemic has exacerbated problems that were already at crisis levels, not only depression and anxiety, but also substance abuse.
SAMHSA's National Survey on Drug Use and Health showed that substance use disorders fully doubled in 2020 from pre-pandemic 2019 data, a 100% increase.
The CDC's latest report on mental health shows more than 50% of Americans will be diagnosed with a mental illness or disorder at some point in their lifetime. Amit Paley of the Trevor Project says the LGBTQ population is among the most vulnerable.
They are placed at significantly increased risk because of how they are mistreated and discriminated against in society.
Ask people, how are they really doing? And wait and listen for an answer.
While the Thomas family still lives with the heartbreak of loss, they hope to start a national conversation and bring help to others. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
In the Senate, lawmakers have announced an effort to put together bipartisan legislation this summer to address unmet mental health needs. New research in Missouri finds COVID-19 survivors are 60% more likely to deal with mental health challenges than those who were not infected. Those challenges include possible anxiety, depression, or opioid and alcohol abuse that could arise within a year after recovery. Researchers in California are learning more about the long-term impact of brain injuries. They found that even a mild case may lead to cognitive impairment, cognitive decline, or both 1 year later compared to people who were not injured. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, the latest unemployment benefit report from the Labor Department.
Plus, it looks like a cold night rolling in for us tonight. I'll have those details coming up. Well, we had the showers, we had the thunderstorms last night, and then freezing rain and sleet this morning, and then snow across a good chunk of the region. Most of this system was along and north of Interstate 44, south of Interstate 44. You really didn't pick up much in the way of wintry weather. Of course, you got the showers and thunderstorms. Cloudy skies, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. We can look at our totals that we saw from this system. Most of the I-44 corridor got freezing rain, sleet, anywhere from a dusting upwards to closer to 2 inches as you work a little bit farther north. Heaviest amounts of snow, Chanute, Yates Center, Fredonia, Iola, Humboldt, over toward Fort Scott, and then Kansas City to Wichita got the most, anywhere from 7 to 10 inches of snow. It's cold. We're sitting into lower 20s. Right now we have these northerly winds kicking in, making it feel a little bit colder than what it actually is. But we're going to have these north winds at about 10 to 20 as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. A few breaks in the clouds. Here's 7th and a range line. And as we go through the evening hours, we'll drop back through the 20s into the teens. Now, northern counties where that snowpack is pretty thick, we're going to see temperatures drop 1, 2, 3 degrees by morning. And then as you work a little bit farther south where we don't have that snowpack, we'll stay into lower teens as we go through the overnight hours tonight. Look at the rain, look at the freezing rain, look at the sleet. And then we had our dry slot and then the little band of snow rotated through as we went through the afternoon hours. As of right now, we look pretty good. We still have a few random little flurries kind of spitting out there, but this whole storm system is racing off toward the north and to the east away from us. Let's look out toward the west. Not a whole bunch going on. We're going to be pretty quiet as we go through the next couple days, and then we'll see the weather kind of picking back up as we head into next week. All right, let's go into tonight. Look at our temps. So single digits. The northern half of the region, we stay into the teens. Our southern counties, we do warm up tomorrow. It looks actually pretty decent. I think most of us are going to go into lower 40s. We'll stay into the 30s in our northern counties. 9 to start. So cold night, 34 by noon, high temp right around 41 during the afternoon hours. Tomorrow night, we drop back once again. We'll slide back into the 20s for overnight lows. And then as we head into Saturday looking pretty good as well as we warm near 50 during the afternoon. So we are heading in the right direction over the next few days. Sunday, we're going to go into the 60s for highs. So just in 3 days, we'll be into the 60s. On Monday, could get a few showers and thunderstorms. By Tuesday, we start to cool back down. And then we do have chances for wintry weather once again by the middle of next week. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that. In fact, we have chances for ice and snow over the next 3 weeks. So each week, and then after that, we're done.
Really?
Yes, and then we roll into spring.
You say that with some degree of authority.
Yes. So
right.
We got to get past about March 10th.
Wow, that's very specific.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doug. Coming up, a push by airlines for a federal no-fly list. First, though, we honor a local veteran. Verl Eckles served in the U.S. Army from 1940 to 1946. Parsons, Kansas native, was stationed in Africa, England, and France. And we salute Staff Sergeant Verl Eckles, a four-state hero. You can learn about lots of other heroes from all across this area. You can also submit a hero of your own anytime, and it's very simple. You just click on the link on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Topping today's Consumer Watch, more Americans signed up for unemployment benefits last week. According to the Labor Department, first-time filings for weekly jobless claims rose by 23,000 to 248,000. Keep in mind, filings had started to drop again this month after spiking in January. Walmart is out with its quarterly report card and it beat expectations. The world's biggest retailer says profit topped $3.5 billion on sales of more than $152 billion. It's the first of the retailers to report, and its results are looked at as a yardstick for how the industry is faring in an inflationary climate. Another company is dropping its mask mandate. Tyson Foods is joining the wave of major companies loosening mask requirements. The nation's biggest meat producer told workers at some facilities that starting this week, fully vaccinated individuals can remove their mask. Face coverings will still need to be worn at some plants to comply with local laws and regulations. The number of unruly passengers on airplanes is growing. The Federal Aviation Administration has reported nearly 500 incidents so far just this year. Well, now some airlines are calling on the Justice Department for help. Reporter Pete Montine has the story.
Faced with a man trying to open the door of an American Airlines flight, court documents say the flight crew turned to a coffee pot to subdue him. Police have now charged 50-year-old Juan Humberto Rivas with interfering with a flight attendant. This as even more unruly airline passengers are facing federal punishment. The FAA is now handing 43 cases to the Department of Justice so it can bring charges against those accused of assaulting fellow passengers and flight crews, both physically and in some cases sexually. If found guilty, they could face jail time.
The flight attendants who are working these flights have been punched, kicked, spit on, disrespected, and constantly under assault.
Sarah Nelson of the Association of Flight Attendants says the numbers are off the charts. The now 80 total cases referred to the Justice Department make up only 1% of the 6,480 incidents reported by flight crews since the start of last year.
Until we have people actually landing in jail and understanding that there's real consequences for acting out on a flight, we're not going to see these incidents go down.
Airlines have asked the Justice Department to keep unruly passengers from boarding flights in the first place, a move 8 Republican senators say should be up to Congress to decide. In a new letter, they insist most unruly passenger incidents are related to the federal transportation mask mandate. They say creating a federal no-fly list for unruly passengers who are skeptical of this mandate would seemingly equate them to terrorists. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says a no-fly list should be considered and more passengers should be put behind bars to keep numbers down.
There is no acceptable level of unruly behavior on aircraft, especially when it is not only disrespectful but dangerous toward flight crews and other passengers.
The DOJ says it's working with other federal agencies on the possibility of creating no-fly lists. For now, airlines are allowed to create their own, but that doesn't stop passengers banned on one airline from buying a ticket on another. A lot of people fork over money for subscriptions, but what about for airline travel? Well, Alaska Airlines announced it'll offer the first ever subscription-based flight service in the U.S. The plans, which start at $49 a month, are focused on the West Coast. Members can fly between 6 and 24 round trips per year. Final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, President Biden warns of a high threat of a Russian invasion into Ukraine. Then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to have more on area road conditions. Plus, the Department of Justice sues the state of Missouri over a gun law. And we're going to hear from the Pitt State men's track and field team about being ranked #1 in the country. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Well, as Doug told us yesterday, there was a wide variety of conditions across the 4 states.
Some areas just had rain, other areas had 6 to 8 inches of snow. So be careful if you are going to be out tonight. Temperatures are going to be cold. We're going to drop back into the single digits. We do get to 41 tomorrow, 46 Saturday, and look at Sunday, 63 degrees, and then here we go again next week.
It's going to look more like spring than winter here come next week. Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next. And of course, we'll be right back here for KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. Be careful and let's make it a great evening.